The age I started Wing Chun was in 1951. I was about the end of 10 years old, and I trained with Grandmaster Yip Man in Hong Kong. I set up Wing Chun Kung Fu in Australia. I've been training Wing Chun for 60 years, and I've been teaching professionally for 40 years. My name is Grandmaster William Cheung. I'm a martial art instructor, and also I'm a doctor and professor in Chinese medicine. The philosophy of Wing Chun actually stemmed from the Chinese Kung Fu martial art. The word of the Kung Fu was written. One side of it is fighting, the other side of it is to stop. So if you're using the art to stop the fighting, it serves the purpose of martial art. It's not you're using your skill and your prowess to invade other people or to hurt other people, but it's to stop the fighting. Of course, they are much more than that. To learn to respect oneself, then they can respect other people, and that's very important because that actually extended to everything else. In Confucius said, if you don't want something done to you, and you don't do it to other people.
My name is Wanu Wu. I'm a chef for 16 years. Joined up at the Wing Chun Academy 3 years ago. Basically, my health was not good. I was not happy. I needed to balance things out, and Wing Chun was the way I saw to do it. Get my health back and hopefully get my happiness back and live a bit of a healthier lifestyle. Kitchens are not healthy. A really quick history on Wing Chun, you'd have to go right back to the start. Before the Han invasion, 5 masters came together to create a better system for training warriors. Now, before the Han invasion, it'd take 10 to 15 years to create a warrior, a decent warrior. And over 10 to 15 years, you'd lose so many men on the battlefield, it just didn't compute. So the 5 masters come together to create a better system. The Hans invaded, 4 of the masters were killed off and 1 survived. Mai, a female nun, she continued to develop the system. She took a lot of the yang force meet force, made it very subtle for a user and devastating for an opponent. Now, she married a guy who introduced the dragon pole, and 8 more generations of masters have come and gone. They have refined and added in meridians and butterfly swords and really honed in on all the stuff that's life-saving and got rid of everything that may only work 95% of the time. So we've basically gone from 15 years to 7 years, and then over the last 8 generations we're looking at 3 to 4 years to create a proper warrior. Now, that is mostly a knowledge-based skill nowadays because we don't have the opportunity to go out on the battlefield and really check a lot of this stuff because it is life-saving techniques. There's finger strikes, pressure point, meridian striking, this sort of thing you can't do to your training partner. You can't do it in a tournament. It is really street fighting application, life-saving sort of stuff.
What are the principle and strategy of traditional Wing Chun? Traditional Wing Chun teach you just to watch one point, the elbow, control one point, the elbow, and go to the blind side. Because to be able to make it work, one has to have very good contact reflexes. That's where the chi sao comes in. Because all the other martial arts systems in the world, they all fight face-to-face, square on, because they could not fight on the blind side, because without controlling the elbow, without the skill and technique to control the elbow, they could not fight on the blind side.
It's the only style that was developed by a woman, and you get other martial arts that would laugh at that. My name is Andrew Cheung. I'm the son of Grandmaster William Cheung, and I'm 20 years old, and I work at the traditional Wing Chun Academy in Melbourne. Watching the elbow fight on the blind side, and what we mean by that is you don't want to fight force with force, okay? If you face someone toe-to-toe, square on, then you're either relying on your speed or your strength, or maybe even your timing. Yeah, even more so your timing, things like that, and your reflexes. Wing Chun is the only one that knows how to control the elbow. Okay, it's very, very dangerous if you don't know how to control your opponent when fighting on the blind side. It's a very, very dangerous place to be, because all they got to do is line you up with just a jab and throw it across. That's why you see boxers, they usually fight toe to toe. With Wing Chun punch, you could hit someone right there, like that, and it would hurt them. Now, if I do that with my elbow out, like this, with my elbow out, I need my hip and shoulder to move, am I right? Like when you're doing it, like Muay Thai, they use their hip and their shoulder. You got to stand up to do that, though. You can't do that sitting down. Also, you're not overcommitting. When you do this, you overcommit. Like when you're standing up, you overcommit each time. Even if you're on balance, you got to go one way from there. When you do this, you overcommit. When you're here, it's recovery time. You can't put an average person on the streets with a bit of Muay Thai and expect them to defend themselves, but you can give them a couple of Wing Chun techniques and expect them to be able to defend themselves. So that, in my opinion, is how Wing Chun compares. It's a very economical style for like movement and energy wise, and also at the same time, you don't have to be big and strong to do it, which is proof. I mean, you look at Yip Man. Look how skinny he is, and he was able to slap people around all over the place.
If you have a look at all the systems, you will find 70-year-old Wing Chun masters still kicking 30-year-old asses, which I think is fantastic. History on Yip Man. He is our Sifu. As a practitioner, he was unbelievable. He was 5'2". He's not a big guy. He was kind of frail. The Wing Chun neutral stance is basically where all our power comes from in Wing Chun. He had mastered the stance to a point where four fellas like myself could stand one behind the other, behind the other, behind the other, and push in on him, and he could just stand there and absorb all that strength.
Was I one of Yip Man, the first student? At that time, there's only 8 senior students to me. I joined with my brother. In fact, most of the contemporary students, they all passed away except cheung. But cheung's health is not that good either. He's got cancer, and I don't think he will survive very long.
I know that he has probably seen a lot of people killed, and that's one of the reasons why he devotes himself so much to street anti-violence, how to defend yourself without having to attack, to get away from situations rather than having to beat someone senseless.
So it became a ritual that every week that we had a challenge match, either on the roof or on the new territory. And so in the end, I fought the best fighter in the triads, and they gave him the title of double plum flower dragon pole. That's his title, and so I defeated him, and he was a gentleman, in fact, even though he was in the triads, and we became friends. In fact, he saved my life a couple of times, because in fact we were doing on the roof, and he was at the edge of the roof. He literally fell off, and I caught him. I saved him.
My dad has had plenty of street encounters having to deal with a lot of the gangs in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, back then, it wasn't how it's known as today. There were a lot more slums there. They had, when he was fighting there, is different to what we know as fighting. We know as fighting is just defending yourself from a bunch of drunk guys. When he was fighting for his life. in Hong Kong, every street situation is a possibility he could have been killed.
I think Andrew is very good, very dedicated, and of course, he's still, well, they say in the Chinese philosophy that you have to, a lot of time that you learn when you make a mistake, right? Andrew was very dedicated to Wing Chun, but for him, for a few years before that, he's focusing on Wing Chun now. He was exposed to the Jiu-Jitsu, so he went over to learn, and so he's a priest, and he understood that Wing Chun was much more superior. So now he's very focused now. Time will tell that Andrew will probably be very, very good. I'm very confident of it.
The pressures on Andrew would be immense. He has grown up with a father such as William Cheung and is well renowned. And if you look at other, doesn't matter what job they're doing, but if you look at other father-son dynamics, most generally the son will want to go off and make his own path and do his own thing and not follow his father's footsteps. My heart and everybody I know that knows him really hope that he does follow through and fill that position. But that'll be entirely up to him. He's still young, he's got a lot of living to do. We all hope the knowledge from his father will be passed through him to us, and so on and so forth, so that we can continue the Wing Chun lifestyle.
If 3 people came at me, I would be comfortable to get out of that situation. I'm not saying I wouldn't get hit, I'm not saying I wouldn't get hurt, but I would get out of that situation. The first way I'd deal with it is I wouldn't deal with you. Now the reason why I wouldn't deal with you is not because I think you're the best fighter out of all of them, but because you're in the middle. If I immediately go into the middle there, then I'm already done. Okay, because then it's 2 people on the side. I'll either go this way or I'll go that way. And so it's the same principle. You fight on a blind side, you don't fight force with force. And if I could talk it over with you 3 guys about not fighting, then I'll do that first. I probably wouldn't want to get into that situation in the first place.
The pressure on Andrew and like the other son James are very great because they have to live up with my reputation and my name and so on, But I think they are very humble and they very, they work very hard for what they want to achieve, So I'm sure that they will handle it very well.
Who would win out of a fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, in your opinion?
Oh, they did fight, and Bruce Lee won.
That was
Yeah.
a movie then?
No. Outside, behind that, but Chuck Norris would never talk about that. He would never say anything. It's as if it didn't happen. But it.
I didn't know that. How do you know it happened?
Well, my dad told me, and my dad was in contact with Bruce Lee, not face to face, but pen pals.
From one of Bruce Lee's letters, Chuck Norris was actually defeated by Bruce and became Bruce's student, even though he didn't admit it. He didn't admit it after Bruce died. But I know for sure, Bruce will beat Chuck Norris any day.
Who would win a fight between Bruce and Chuck? I can't imagine Chuck winning. I just can't.
Your father and Bruce Lee, what if they had to fight? Back both in their peak state.
Well, I got to go with my dad on that. That's because they're both. Well, I'm looking at physical advantages, but these are two people who just don't believe they could lose, and also 2 people who are very, very skilled. But you got to take into account that my dad was Bruce Lee's senior. He was a senior, Bruce Lee was his junior. Because my dad introduced Bruce Lee to martial arts.
I say hands down would beat him. He's the master of masters. When Bruce used to get in trouble in Hong Kong, Sifu pulled him out of trouble.
that means you would win.
Of course, I'll win.
You're the best. You're the best.